Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to give you my reaction to Ali Abdaal's video where he reveals his investment portfolio. Before we jump into it, we've got some housekeeping. We need to make sure we're subscribed. I'm already subscribed to his channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel down below. And of course, we need to make sure we like the video because it's good YouTube etiquette. So please make sure you guys have liked this video as well. And let's jump into it.
In this video, I'm going to talk you through my entire investment portfolio that I've been building up since I started investing in 2015. We'll talk about stocks and shares, index funds, crypto, real estate, angel investments and startups, and a few other bits and bobs. Before we get started, I'll say the usual caveats that I always say when I'm making a video associated with money, and that is number one, this is not financial advice. It's purely for informational /
So the reason why all YouTubers say this is because they aren't financial advisors, and financial advisors need to understand your personal situation before they can give you financial advice, because it needs to be tailored to your specific requirements and situations, whereas the information they give is what worked for them and it's pretty general. So the reason that they always say this is basically as a safety net so they can't get sued down the line.
Entertainment purposes only. Genuinely, I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I've read a few blog posts and a few books about like money and investing and stuff, but beyond that, I don't know anything. So please take every single thing.
I think he's definitely downplaying this here. You know, the guy's got 2 million subscribers. He's an intelligent chap. He definitely knows what he's talking about. So he's trying to downplay it a little bit here, but he's just being humble. So there's nothing wrong with that, but he definitely knows what he's talking about.
Caveat number two, we are still sadly in the middle of a pandemic where people have been struggling financially and have lost their jobs. The point of this video is not to #flex.
I think that's where there's a difference between flex and inspiration. And I think Ali definitely falls in the inspiration camp, because a flex for me is like if he was flaunting his wealth, you know, if he's driving around in Lamborghinis and he always had like, you know, APs on his wrist or something like that. But it's not, it's about inspiration. He's basically documenting his journey and telling people how he done things so other people can learn from it. And for me, you know, it's a massive source of inspiration. So I think that's where there's a difference between flex and inspiration. And I think Ali is definitely in the inspiration camp for me.
But whatever the case, especially if you or people that you know have been struggling financially, it's often not useful for our own mental health to compare ourselves to other people and to see kind of what they're doing. So please consider that.
This reminds me of Rule 4 in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and it's basically about making sure you compare yourself against who you were yesterday, not against who someone else is today, which is such a massive thing because comparison is the thief of joy is another phrase I really like. And if I was to compare myself to Ali's portfolio, you know, I'd get really down and beat up about myself. But that's not the point. It's back to that flex versus inspiration piece. Like Ali's doing this to inspire people and to teach people. And we've got to realise we're all on our own journey and it's about how we get there in our own way.
And caveat number three, this stuff has taken a long amount of time to build up. I have been making money on the internet since the age of 13, and I had 7 years worth of failed businesses before, at the age of 19, in my second year of med school, I finally made a business that actually succeeded and actually made.
So for me, this is another really big thing, and it comes back to the iceberg analogy where 10% of the iceberg's out of the water and 90% in the water. And that 10% is like, you know, everyone can see Ali's got 2 million subscribers and you can see, you know, he's doing well for himself financially. But the 90% is, you know, those 7 failed businesses, all those hard years when he was at university trying to juggle businesses and a YouTube channel whilst doing his studying. And that's the stuff nobody sees. And too often I think we just jump to the highlight reel instead of seeing all of this hard work, which compounds over years and years and years. And that's the key, I think.
So with all that said, let's get started with the investment portfolio, and let's start with stocks and shares. Within stocks and shares, there are broadly 2 types of things that I invest in. Number 1 is index funds, and number 2 is individual stocks. Why do I invest in index funds? Well, because Warren Buffett says so, and because every financial advice type book that I've ever read says so.
You got someone like Warren Buffett saying it, you know, you've got to wake up and listen to it because he's an absolute titan of investing. And there's other people like Graham Stephan and Andre Jick, you know, they're big proponents of index funds. And I myself, I absolutely love them. I feel like going into Liverpool on a Saturday, standing on some chairs and preaching to people about how they should all invest into index funds because I think they offer the best returns and they're the most passive way to invest.
So far, I have put in £75,959 into my ISA, which is an individual savings account or something like that.
So an ISA is a tax-free account and you can buy unit trusts, index funds and individual stocks and shares in an ISA. And basically what it means is any money that they make, any growth that they receive, you will not pay any capital gains tax on it. So any money you make will be completely tax-free for the lifetime of the ISA. So it's really good to take advantage of if you're looking at investing, and you should definitely set one up if you're not already savvy with them.
So I've been maxing out my ISA since 2015, which is why this has a decent amount of money in it, and its current value is 124,960. And so the change in value is 49,000. Now this is pretty staggering. This means that I've just been putting money into this account and then completely forgetting about it. And over the last 6 years of putting money into this account.
So I think junior doctor's salary is around about £25,000 to £30,000 a year, and he's made £50,000 by investing, so that's roughly double a junior doctor's salary. And he's just invested since 2015. He's never had to touch it. It's been really passive. It's just gone like that because it's been invested in the S&P 500. And it's a really good passive way to invest. And I've actually got a video, another good way to passively invest. It's how to make £281 a month by investing into property. So I'll link that in the description below. Please check that out, guys, because that's another great way to invest passively, just like index funds, just like Ali's done.
And then a few months ago, I decided to dabble with trading individual stocks. Collectus, I put in 1,000. It's now worth 400, so I've lost 58% on that. Basically, all of these books, all of these financial advice books will say that don't bother investing in individual stocks. Everyone says, and Warren Buffett says this as well, just invest in index funds. You know, if you invest in all of the top 500 companies in the US, chances...
And this is literally... This is like the gem in this video, because like I think if 99% of people understood this, so just steer clear of individual stocks and to just invest into index funds over the course of their whole life, the benefits will be absolutely phenomenal. So I think this is an absolute gem. I think if we could like bottle this up and give it to people, it will be the answer, because so many people need to hear this advice. It is absolutely golden. Just invest into index funds. Individual stocks, you don't need them. Just invest into index funds.
Let's now move on to the crypto aspect of my portfolio. And so my crypto portfolio was looking very, very in the red. It was like minus $60,000 for the last 4 years. But crypto has recently done a rally. And so here is a screenshot of my portfolio on CoinTracker.
So crypto is such a massive thing at the moment. And as you can see, sort of last big bull run was 2017. And we had like the start of a bull run the start of this year. And it's just gone on another run recently. But crypto as a whole, really hot at the moment. You know, companies like Tesla and Square had it on their balance sheet at the start of this year. So crypto is a massive thing, but there's always that propensity where you can lose all of your money, like Ali did there. He said he spent a load of money in 2017, and look at that, for so long, he was like massively down on his old portfolio. So it's such a massive thing to remember with crypto. You can lose a lot of money. And then that's back to that advice we just spoke about. Like for most people, index funds are the answer.
And if you're interested in the portfolio allocation, you know, I've got about 50...
So this is really interesting to see his portfolio allocation. So he's most heavily weighted in Ethereum, and personally, so am I. I'm actually invested in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Cardano. So similar to Ali here. I've not got any Litecoin, and I managed to resist the FOMO on Dogecoin, which is good. But yeah, it's really interesting. You know, I think Ethereum has got some really good use cases in the future. You know, with smart contracts on the blockchain. Whereas for me, I just think of Bitcoin. I just think digital gold. It's got that scarcity. There's only ever going to be 21 million. So yeah, for me, it's probably a similar sort of split to what Ali's got there. I think I've got as well.
Let's now talk about real estate. So
this is the whole premise of my channel, and this is what I love. I love property, love real estate. It's just going to be really interesting to hear what he says there. So if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. I like to talk about all things investing and all things property investing as well. So please hit the subscribe button.
The thing with real estate is that it takes a very long time to get started. And so up until about
Another complete gem. Property investing takes a while. It is like the antithesis of you need to be in it for the long term, because it can take you a while to actually purchase a property. So anyone who's bought a house will know this information. It can take you a while.
Months ago, the only real estate I owned was this flat, which has a mortgage on it, which is a joint mortgage that I have between me and my brother. We got this mortgage in 2018. And so the purchase price of the house was £370,000.
£370,000 probably isn't a lot of money in Cambridge, but if you come up north where I live, you could get some ridiculous properties for 370. So again, it just shows that north-south divide, and it's why a lot of investors from down south end up coming up north to buy cheaper properties.
£1,000. We put in a £55,000 deposit, and so far I've paid back up.
£55,000, you could buy a house up north, put it that way. It would have to be a cheap one, and it'd be in a sorry state of repairs, but you could buy a house for 55 grand up here.
Around 30k of the mortgage. And so there's around about £85,000 of equity tied up in this house, but it's got a mortgage on it. And I usually have a lodger living with me, and I've got my cousin living with me kind of further down the line.
So this is a thing called house hacking, and it's absolutely fantastic thing to do. So he will effectively be getting his lodger to service his mortgage debt. So he will effectively be living for free. Now, some people actually do this with Airbnb, so they will Airbnb their spare room in their house. And if that's something you're interested in, please check out my ultimate guide to setting up a Airbnb business, which again will be in the description down below. So please check that out, guys. But house hacking is a fantastic thing to do. You get to live for free, and someone else pays down your mortgage. What's not to love?
That I'm saving from living in this house and the fact that I've got a lodger living with me who's paying me rent, I get around about a 16% return.
Which is a really good return, like a sort of good return in property, anything over 12%, I would say, and you're on a good return. So 16% is well above that, so that's a really good return.
But quite excitingly, I'm in the process of buying another 3 flats to use.
And that's really interesting, so I want to know why is he buying flats as opposed to houses? Is he buying flats in Cambridge? Or has he gone up north to get some cheaper flats? And yeah, definitely that first one. Why has he gone for flats instead of investment properties? So those sort of questions I would want to know. And then obviously, how much is he paying? How much is he putting down? And then you got your mortgage. Is he going interest only? Is he going repayments? What sort of interest rates? Because he'll be getting a really low interest rate at the moment because the cost of lending is so cheap because there's so much money floating around.
Next, we have the asset class of cash. Cash is an asset class. I know Graham Stephan talks about how he always has like $1 million plus like of cash just sitting in the bank account, waiting for him to pounce on some kind of real estate deal. I'm nowhere near as sophisticated as that. I don't really like the whole real estate thing because it's slow and annoying. And I basically carry 0 cash. In fact, I hit my overdraft the other day because I just never have any cash in my current account because any cash I do have is either in the business account.
See, yeah, I would completely disagree with what he said there. He is definitely a sophisticated investor. You know, you listen to the guy, he knows what he's talking about. He's invested into a lot of different areas. He's got a lot of capital to invest, which shows he's sophisticated. And ultimately, it's in his business, so he's going to be investing into his business, which is going to make him more money down the line. So, yeah, 100% he is a sophisticated investor. I think he's just downplaying it again.
The final asset class that I want to talk about is digital assets. Now, most people wouldn't consider this to be a standard asset class. Like standard asset classes are stocks and real estate and crypto these days. But actually, if we think of like, what is an investment? An investment is something that you put money into initially and it makes money for you, which stocks do, which real estate does. But actually, digital assets do that as well. And so what's an example of a digital asset? An example of a digital asset is, for example, a YouTube video. So when you make a YouTube video and it's out there on the internet, people can watch that video while you're sleeping, and you make money through AdSense on that YouTube video. And so, in fact, let's have a look at our YouTube analytics. Let's look at the last 90 days.
Wow, look, those numbers are absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? Like, I love the fact that he's so open about this because you get, and you know, I think to be fair, a lot of the YouTube generation are becoming more and more open about how much money they earn on the platform. But like, this guy's just like so transparent. Like, he just logs on. Like, he didn't have to do that. He's just being open and honest with everyone. You know, $120,000 there. You know, if you earn that a year, that is absolutely mega money. And it'd be really interesting to see his thoughts about like comparing how much he would have earned as a junior doctor or even a doctor. Do you know what I mean? Because he's earned that in the last 90 days. You know, that might not be far off what he'd get if he was maybe like top tier doctor in the NHS, I assume. So it'd be really interesting to get that sort of perspective from him.
And if we look at where that money is coming from, last 90 days. Okay, this is a passive income videos, which has made $47,559.
$47,000 in 90 days off one video is absolutely mental. Like, that would have taken him a couple of hours to make. He's probably got someone else to edit it. So, you know, the input for him there isn't massive. And it's earned $47,000, which is like a decent, you know, yearly wage, which is absolutely ridiculous, which always brings me back to Naval Ravikant on his How to Get Rich tweet storm. And he says you need to leverage the internet. And, you know, he's absolutely smashing it. And it's just, like, again, it just, for me, as like a new YouTuber, this just gives me massive inspiration. And I also love the fact he's got a Deliveroo tab open there. What were you scanning from Deliveroo, Ali? You need to share with the world. Tell us what you had. Order 9937. Tell us what you had, mate.
And so, generally when I think about investments, I think there's like the traditional stuff, like real estate, stocks and shares, crypto. And then there's the non-traditional stuff. There's the stuff where it's almost like playing a game, right? Where if you're kind of a level 1 character, if you're like the default character, the only real thing you can invest in is stocks and shares because you can get started with like $10, $100.
And this is the most powerful thing for beginners, taken away from this video, is like you need to start there. You need to get into the habit, build the habits, build a muscle memory, do it every single month, dollar cost average, and you'll see it grow over the long term. Be committed to investing into your own financial future. And there's some brilliant advice in this video on that. And that's a fantastic starting place for beginners. Hope you guys have enjoyed that video of me reacting to Ali Abdaal revealing his investment portfolio. I found it mega interesting, really inspiring for my future YouTube journey, and I hope you guys took something away from it as well. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to check out the ultimate guide to starting an Airbnb business, I will link it on the screen now, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.